Hi, it's the Lipstick Gal. Thanks so much for watching today. I'm doing another makeup declutter, and today it's smaller eyeshadow palettes. These aren't all my small eyeshadow palettes. These are just the ones that fit in this bin. I have a whole nother bin off to the side, right over here. But I'm gonna tell you, smaller eyeshadow palettes are the type that I really enjoy and appreciate the most. I think there's gonna be a good chance that a lot of these are gonna stick around just because I enjoy them, but I will show them to you. I'm gonna start with these guys. I know I'm not getting rid of any of these, but these are the Divine Skies from M Cosmetics. These are one of my favorite formulas. I love this so much. This was the first one I got, and I use this one so much. I think I got this one, was it 2021? Or was it 2020? I don't remember. But this one here is Golden Hour. This one here is Venetian Rose. And this one, my favorite. This one came out in February of 2022. This one here is from the Masterpiece Collection. This one's called Rodin. Now, the reason that I love these is because they have a mixture of 3 metallics and 3 mattes. You've got kind of more of a neutral, slightly warm leaning, definitely more warm and peachy, and then more of a rose toned. But these are just like my perfect everyday eyeshadow. Not too many options, really, really beautiful formula, and I love them so much. So these guys aren't going anywhere. These are from Flower Beauty. I have the Desert Lights and the Jungle Lights, and these both got added to my eyeshadow collection last year. I started, I think, in maybe late January, early February with this absolutely stunning palette here. Now I know they're just 6 metallic shades, but they're so good. And I think if I had to get rid of one, I would get rid of this. But the truth is, I love all of these. The shades that I don't really use, I don't use this kind of like purple shade here or this one. Those are the 2 in here that I don't use. And over here, I use them all, but I use this one the least. But the rest of them get a ton of use. And if you're looking for really gorgeous, kind of high shine, high foiled looks at the drugstore at an affordable price point, these ones from Flower Beauty are fantastic. I know Flower is kind of doing a revamp of their brand at the moment, and I'm hoping they keep these or use these same formulas in a different eyeshadow sort of palette, but these are beautiful. This is my most used, but I'm gonna keep them both. I picked up these 2 Nabla Cutie palettes during a 21 Days of Beauty about 2 years ago. I think it was spring of 2021 that I picked these up. And mainly it was because I really didn't have a single thing from Nabla in the eyeshadow department. And this one here is the Metropolitan. This is the one that I think I'm probably gonna get rid of. And not because it's not good, because it's actually really nice. I just don't reach for it. I don't wear peach shades like this. I don't wear a ton of gold shades like this. And this white is, even though it's kind of like a duochrome, the shades that I reach for are this one, and this one up here at the top. So I only use half the palette. Now the palette comes with really nice cardboard packaging with the mirror. I know that there is somebody in my life that would love this palette and get more use out of it than me. Now, this one here, I love. Okay, I love everything about this palette. I love the metallics in here. I like that this guy here is not quite so yellow gold and more of like an old, almost bronzy gold. I like that we have cooler metallics. This shade here and this matte here are fabulous. And this one right here is amazing for a one shadow look. I get a lot of use out of this when I'm looking for cool eyeshadows in my collection, so I'm gonna hang on to this one. I have 5 Wayne Goss eyeshadow palettes. Okay, I really like Wayne's formula. I like Wayne's layout where you get 6 shades in a palette. Oh, I love this one. This one's Tourmaline. This was one that when I got it at the tail end of 2021, I used so much. This one is stunning. This one's gonna stay. Oh, this is my favorite. This one's Pearl. This one's got a really nice mix of slightly warmer shades like these guys here, cooler grays. This celestial shade is beautiful, but I really feel like Pearl is really made for somebody with, I would say, fair to light skin in mind. It's a really pretty everyday palette, but you can really bling it up with this shade here. This is gorgeous. This is the one I reach for the most. If I were gonna get rid of any of them, it would probably be this one. This one's Smoky Quartz. I think the reason that I didn't fall in love with this was that these matte shades here, I feel like the formula is off just a little bit. I think the Celestial in here is really nice, and this shade here is okay. This was kind of going for 1990s supermodel vibes. Yeah, I kind of get it. And I think it would be everything I would normally want, a lot more mattes, a really pretty metallic shade, and a really blingy Celestial, but kind of cooler toned mattes, the truth is. I feel like the formula is different from this to the rest of them. But you know what I did? In February, I put this in my everyday makeup bin and I used it, and actually I kind of fell in love with it. It is a little bit more persnickety in application, but the color story is really gorgeous. So for now, I'm gonna hang on to this one. So here's one that I never intended to purchase. This is the Amber palette. And the only reason I have this is because it came in my 2023 Beautylish Lucky Bag for this year. And you know what? I have been wearing it so much. I use this shade here as a one shadow look. I'll go in with these two mattes and deepen it up with this. Sometimes I'll put just a Celestial shade all over the lid. You know, this one really surprised me. I have really been having more of a love affair recently with more neutral eyeshadows or even cooler eyeshadows, and these kind of more decidedly warm ones really haven't been calling to me. But I think had I purchased this myself when it came out in summer of 2022, I would have loved it. It just wasn't calling to me at the time, but I am very happy to have it in my collection, and it's been getting a lot of use since it arrived. The last one here is the first one and the original. I really have been having a renaissance with this. This is the Imperial Topaz. I have been loving this. Now I'll tell you, there are two shades in here that don't get a ton of use. One of them is this black, and the other one is kind of like this really rich kind of warm tone. But the other four, those two in the middle, and then this one here and the Celestial here, use all the time. Now I do use the black as liner. Occasionally I'll smoke out the corner with it. Sometimes I'll reach for this, but 90 to 95% of the time I'm using these two and these two. And this one here especially I have been using as a one shadow look recently. Stunning, stunning. It's very much a kind of slightly metallic-y bedroom eyes look. Love, 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 love. This isn't going anywhere. Here are the rest of my small palettes. Let's get cracking. I have all 5 of Lisa Eldridge's eyeshadow palettes. I love these so much. These are stunning. This is one of my most used. This is the Vega palette. I really love this for a work day, but I like the fact that it's a cooler eyeshadow palette. The other thing that I love about these is that you can push them out. By the way, I have them numbered, and it's not because this is number 2. It's because on the back of each of these, I'll have 2 and then orders from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll have the number of which palette it came from and then what number in the palette it goes into, so I can rearrange them and kind of create my own, but still get them back to where they belong. And there are times that these get really mixed up, or I'll pull them and I'll put them into a magnetic eyeshadow palette to kind of create a different sort of look. But I love the fact that these are mobile, but this formula is really different and really interesting. And I love it. And this one here, I didn't think I would like because it's got a black in it. It's got kind of like a deep slate gray, and those really aren't my shades, but I love this one. This one's staying for sure. They're all staying. Let me just quickly show them to you. All right, this one here is the Muse palette. This one, you know, I am getting some hard pan in some of these when I press my finger into them. That's the one thing I've been noticing. I feel like some of these more metallic shades do better with a brush than a finger. Lisa says you can do either, but I've been noticing this, and I feel like for the price tag, I would like less of that to happen, but I can still go in there with kind of like a fluffy goat hair brush and still pick up the product. It will, you know, kind of get off that top layer of hard pan, but I've switched from using fingers to actually just using brushes for most of these. Oh, this one's my favorite. Do you see like the giant divot here in this one? This one is like my finger has been in there rubbing around. This one here is the Sorcery palette. It is kind of like a magic little palette. It's like a party in a palette. I love this one. I never thought I would be one to use, you know, greens and blues and really kind of silvery tones because I've never really felt confident in those. These are gorgeous. These are stunning. These are fantastic. Not too much and just enough. Here's a Cinnabar palette. I really like this. I tend to use this shade here called Fired Earth a lot. I feel like the mattes in here are really what bring me back. Not that the metallics aren't good, they're good, but like these mattes here are absolutely stunning and are the reason I keep coming back to this. I love the formula of them. Lisa has two different finishes of mattes in here and a lot of other really pretty colors, but I tend to really reach for those when I open up this palette. This is the Myth palette. This is such a gorgeous, gorgeous palette. The truth is, these two shades here are the ones that I actually use the least. I use the other four shades so much more. It's the color. I am really, really kind of intimidated by color, especially really vibrant color. So sometimes I will pull in this more burgundy tone called Victorian Trim in, but this shade here, this one really scares me. I use this one the least, but I really love like this shade here, this shade here, this one here. This one is called Nocturama. They're just stunning. Formula is good, the colors are beautiful, and when I really commit, I can get a gorgeous look out of this, but I'm still gonna tell you, me and purple eyeshadow, arm's length. I'm getting there, but still arm's length. Maybe I should just commit to using it every day for a week and I'll feel a lot more confident with it. But I do love this formula. I can't wait to see what else Lisa comes up with, but yeah, these are definitely favorites. So I just pulled out a portion of these smaller palettes. This one here is from Pat McGrath. This is a quad called Venus and Floor. I actually really like this. The one thing is this shade here is a duochrome. It is so luxurious. It looks, if you see it in the mirror, it looks a little gold in the mirror and pink in the pan, but do you see all the sparkle everywhere? It's from this shade. It's a very high maintenance shade. It's a little dramatic. I have to really want to use this palette, but when I do, it's stunning. So I'm gonna hang on to this for now. I really like the color story, but it's kind of more high maintenance. Now here's one that I've kept forever and a day, and I think it's time to let it go. This is the Meet Matchmaker. There was a time when I had almost all of the Meet Matte palettes. I loved them so much. But the reason I liked this one is that it had duos. It had a matte and a metallic. You know, you had kind of olivey tones, you had, you know, kind of warmer tones, ones that leaned a little bit more pink, some cooler ones. I thought this was a really fantastic palette and I got some good use out of it. I just haven't reached for it since my last makeup declutter. And if I haven't reached for it in more than a year, it's definitely time to let it go. So here is one that I kept for nostalgic purposes. This is the Makeup Geek and Manny MUA palette. I mean, look at this. This is so much, and I forget what year this came out. Was this 2015, 2016? I really loved the color story. I used everything in here except for this shade here and this one here. Now this one is like your traditional blue brown pigment, and I know how to use it now, but at the time, I didn't know what I was doing. And this red shade scared the living daylights out of me, but I used the rest of it and I used it a lot, but I've just had it for too long. It's definitely time to let it go, but it really reminds me of a completely different time on beauty YouTube. I remember when Pat McGrath started coming out with these 6-pan palettes. Now I know she has started doing it again in the last year and a half-ish with the Bridgerton ones. I feel like they're nice palettes, but I don't know if there's anything remarkably special about this. This is the Bronze Ambition palette. You know, it's nice, but I haven't reached for it. I think I've used it once, maybe twice in the last year and a half since my last declutter. Maybe that's why it's time to let it go. I've had it, look, there's really nothing wrong with it, but I feel like I have these shades in other places. And although the packaging is fun, you know, doing this sort of thing here with it, I don't know. I don't know. I never really fell in love with these 6 pans because they don't have any of those special topper shades. I feel like the mattes are nice. I feel like the metallics are nice. I just don't live every time I pull it out. I used to, but not anymore. So I'm gonna let this one go. I don't know, does Natasha Denona still make these 5-pan palettes? I know the packaging is different, but as she just started going to minis and not making these larger size pans, this is the 5-pan palette in the number 2. The name is like O2. But the reason I can't get rid of it is for these 2 shades here. They are magnificent. I mean, they're so beautiful and reflective, and the light is kind of coming at them kind of the wrong way for you to see that. But I love this so much. Love, love, love. I like it as like all five together, but there are so many times that I'm like, I need one shadow and I'll reach into this, or I'll reach into this. Or sometimes I'll mix it with the matte in here and then go for one of these two at the end. I almost never use this kind of burgundy tone here, and it's pretty. I mean, it's really saturated and gorgeous. There is one matte and four metallics, and the metallics are stunning. And I know I've had this forever and a day, but it's these two guys here. Part of me is like, probably expired, but kind of don't care. I'm gonna keep it because the formula is still beautiful and it wears really well, and they're just buttery and delicious. These two palettes are a combo of eyes and face that came during the 2021 holiday blockbuster from Estee Lauder. So you have one that's more warm and one that's more cool. I never really fell in love with these. First of all, they both have a face color in there. This right here is Molten Mercury. It's the highlight. And then this right here is a Bronze Goddess in 02. I have a full size of this. I have a cheek palette that has this in it. I don't need this. This right here, I don't feel is the same as their original Big Cholet formula. And I've never, ever, ever liked the Estee Lauder eyeshadow formula. Never. So I'm gonna say goodbye to both of these. These guys can go for sure. Two tiny guys from the drugstore. This one here, I wanted to get rid of last time I did a declutter, but I kept it for this shade right here. This is a duochrome and it's so pretty. Sometimes I'll use this as a one shadow look, but I haven't gotten enough use out of this Revlon So Fierce in Slight Flex. I think it's time to let it go. Like I did last time when I pulled it out of my discard, and I was like, no, I love this shade right here. So this time, for sure, it's gonna go. Now, this one here, I'm divided on. I think that the bite-sized eyeshadows from e.l.f. are good, but good for the drugstore. And some people think they're really amazing. I have other eyeshadow formulas that I like a little bit better than this. For $3, it's fantastic, but I don't like to quantify good for the drugstore. I just want it to be good. Now, I've had more of these in the past, and this is the only one in Pumpkin Pie that I hang on to. Part of me feels like, you know, I mean, look how pretty that is. I don't know, should I keep it just because I don't find myself wearing these really super warm tones, but sometimes if I'm gonna do like a all drugstore look, these are the ones from Flower Beauty. And the truth is, I feel like I might need to keep this just to have a balanced look at what there is out there. Okay, so I'm gonna hang on to this for now, but it's probably not gonna get a ton of use. It's probably gonna be used occasionally in a video, but probably not in daily life. More little tiny guys. This right here is a quad from Makeup Geek. Of course, Makeup Geek is no more, which is super, super sad. I remember really liking these shades. This was a pre-designed quad when Marlena kind of launched her, what was it, her color system when she redid everything in square pans and relaunched at the beginning of 2020. And then like, I don't know, maybe 2 months later, the pandemic hit and it really took her business down. I don't think I need this anymore. I definitely have these shades in other places as singles as well as in, I'll probably keep the compact. It's nice to have, you know, this size compact because it is a magnetic compact, but I think I'm gonna let these eyeshadows go. This was one of the worst things I tried last year. Man, I have wanted to fall in love with Fenty. I just haven't. Hello. Okay, here we go. This is the Snap Shadow in number 4. And I don't like these eyeshadows. They don't perform well. They're just okay. And for the hype the brand gets, I don't understand it because these shadows there are drugstore eyeshadows that are better than this. Like the e.l.f. one I feel performs better. The ones from Flower Beauty perform better. This is definitely more expensive. I don't like this. And maybe I got the wrong one. Maybe there's a better color story out there. But this one here, no, discard. I was really excited when Glossier came out with their monochromes trios. I thought the idea was great. 3 shades with different finishes, like 3 of the same shade in different finishes. You get a matte, you get a satin, and you get a metallic. Now, if you're looking at this one is called Prairie. I don't necessarily feel like These are exactly the same shade. I feel like these more metallic, kind of goldish looking ones are very close and the finish is different, but this matte here, it's not the same color. And how could it be? Because it's not metallic. But I didn't ever really fall in love with this. I wanted to. I mean, like, you can refill this pan. This guy here pops out. I love that. The mirror pops out for recycling. Like, I love everything about this. I love that we have a limited 3-color story. That's fantastic. I just didn't feel like these lasted all day. I also felt like they were very, very sheer, and I don't need like 1000% pigment. I just need it to look like I put something on. And then I need it not to crease, and then I need not to have sparkle underneath my eye. And this committed all of those sins. So I'm ready to let this Monochromes from Prairie go. This is a Beauty Pie eyeshadow quad in collaboration with James Molloy. This is the gold palette. You know, this one's actually really good. It really reminds me of these quads from Charlotte Tilbury. I feel like packaging is the same size. And when you open up one of these guys, you know, rectangular pans. This one says Charlotte Tilbury in gold at the bottom, says Beauty Pie at the top. I feel like the pans are slightly different size, but I'll tell you, this really impressed me. The one thing I need to be careful with is this looks kind of like a cream shade. This is the gold. And when the gold like really gets going, it looks kind of creamy here, and then you swipe it on, and when it hits the light just right, and boy, my light is a weird angle. Do you see how it looks more yellow here? It's not quite as white or creamy, there we go, as it looks in the pan. In the pan, it looks really, really creamy. Now, my light's at a weird angle for shooting overhead footage right now, but I love the mattes in here, and this shade is gorgeous for a one shadow look. This is the one that I have to be careful because it's the lightest. I like to put it in my inner corner, and sometimes it's a little too yellowy gold for my skin tone. It's basically my favorite way to use it is as a topper. I'm gonna hang on to this. I think this is a really great eyeshadow palette. I just wish Beauty Pie did more of these, because the 3 that James Molloy came out with, there was a rose gold, there was a silver, and this gold. And I don't know, they're really nice and very affordable. I just wish there were more inspiring colorways. I have 2 eyeshadow quads from Charlotte Tilbury. I've had these both for such a long time. You can tell these are more of the neutral look in Charlotte's line. And I feel because of that, it tells you really where I was in my makeup journey. I will definitely wear more color now. These are definitely in my comfort zone. This one here is the Golden Goddess. I'm really not sure that it's still called this. It might, I don't know, because I know they've been changing some of the names from when I first started shopping at Charlotte Tilbury until now. But this is one that I used to use the most. I think it's a really, really pretty, I used it just the other day. It's really pretty. I'm gonna hang on to this one. And this one here is, my label says Dolce Vita, but I know this one has been renamed the Bella Sofia. I actually use this a lot too. Maybe I shouldn't say a lot. Like with as many eyeshadow palettes as I have, not everything can get a lot of use, but I have been using it, and not just when I'm turning out like a full look of Charlotte Tilbury. I really feel like these eyeshadow palettes, although they're very expensive, they're in the mid-50s for price, I feel like the quality is great, especially if you have a more mature lid, because the minute you start having any wrinkling or any texture on your lid, certain types of eyeshadows just really kind of hone in and do nothing but put a magnifying glass over that texture. These guys don't. These guys have a soft, subtle shine, and for a more mature lid, you still get a little bit of that sheen and sparkle without it making it look like, you know, lizard skin. That's what I feel like sometimes. Like, I'll be putting on a really shiny eyeshadow, I'm like, oh my goodness, this makes me look 1,000 years old, and like I have dry reptile skin. These are beautiful. If you want a more metallic finish, but you still want to not accentuate those fine lines, I really like Charlotte's formula for that. So I'm going to hang on to this one as well. Oh, this little bento box from Kaja. This is the one in Orange Blossom. I really want to try another one of these, but this is a trio of 3 metallic eyeshadows. I think they're stunning. They're so nice and easy to use. I like how small and edited it is. Love. Oh, how I wanted to love this. I feel like I got the wrong shade. I should have gotten something different, but doesn't it look like it really wants to be my type of eyeshadow? This is the Smoky Eye Brick in Silk from Victoria Beckham. Like, packaging, 10 out of 10. It's gorgeous. And I like that they're using one giant pan. It's not like 4 distinct pans. It's one pan and it's all pressed in there. Okay, I feel like this shade here and this one here are very similar. This one's a little warmer, but they're both very gold on the eye and kind of on the sheer side. And then this shade here, I find that when I put it on the eye and blend, whether I'm using an eyeshadow primer or not, it goes on kind of dark, but the more you blend it, it turns into like ethereal smoke. It's just like gone. This one's actually really pretty on the eye. I'm gonna hang on to it for now because I haven't really had it that long, only a couple of months, but this is not making me want to rush back and be like, yes, 50, how many dollars for another one of those? No. It was a real disappointment for sure. And who knows, maybe this time next year, this one will be on the way out. I have really fallen in love with this Persona Identity palette. I love this. I picked this up at the end of December. I think it's fantastic. Okay, so my favorite things about it is you definitely have like warm shades. You have cool, like these guys here are cool. You have metallics. You have a ton of mattes. And it's specially designed for brown eyes. And hello, your girl here has brown eyes. But I love that I can use this as liner. And these metallics here are very much like the Charlotte metallics that on my 48-year-old eyelid that does have some texture that can sometimes look like lizard person eyelids if I'm not careful. Does not make that happen. These just look fantastic. I love this. And the all matte looks I pull from this are stunning. I'm hanging on to this. So happy to have this in my collection. And if you don't have it, it's actually really good, especially if you are a neutral lover. The rest of what I have in here is Viseart. I really don't see myself getting rid of these guys because like these Petits here are my faves. I love these so much. But let me just show you what I have. I'll go through it real quickly. So these two here are, broken, apparently, look. Okay, I'm gonna just dump this guy into the trash. Oh, what a shame. This is the Natural Mattes 01. I love that every single one of these is removable. I'm gonna try and get this one out here for you. They just lift right out like this. And you can rearrange the eyeshadow palette or any other Viseart eyeshadow palettes that has, you know, this rectangular shaped pan. You can put those in here. Obviously, you can see I use this as liner. I use the brown as liner. Sometimes I'll use this one here for my eyebrows. Like, it's like endlessly useful. I have used this shade here with a mixture of this for bronzer or for contour when I've been like, oh, oops, I forgot. And I use it, sometimes I've used like this one here as setting powder or this one under the eye to brighten. Like amazing, amazing. This is great. Love that I have this one. This is one that, I don't know, I mean to use more and I just don't. This one here is the Sultry Muse. And you know, all matte, and this one here is all shimmer. I just need to reach for it more. I have 3 of the Entendu eyeshadow palettes. This one here is the Paris Love Letter. Look, she's so pretty. Ready for spring with kind of like a pistachio green, a lavender, a really pretty peach. I love this color story. It is a little bit on the lighter side. I feel this one's great for people with fair skin. Cashmere is probably my most used and abused. The one that I use the most, I love. I like that we have darker shades here. You can see sometimes I dampen the outside edge and I use it as liner. Really have been going in strong to this one here. Love this. If you're gonna get a eyeshadow palette in this size from Viseart, I really recommend the Cashmere. It's endless, especially if you like neutrals and kind of like, you know, rosy tones. It gives you everything you need. It's so, so, so beautiful. Love, love, love. And the Sol La Plage, oh my goodness, she's so much fun. And I was like, I don't wear blues, I don't wear oranges, I don't wear yellows. Okay, the only one I haven't worn in here is this one. And maybe, who knows, maybe this summer I will. But I love this blue. This blue is gorgeous because it's not really like a super, super like bright blue. When you get it on and you kind of sheer it out, it becomes kind of like this ethereal little wash. I love doing that in the summertime on my lids. I'll throw like a little bit of this in the inner corner, this all over the lid, and just a little bit of this in the crease. Stunning. I really like this. Amazing. Here is the Paris Edit. I feel like there are a lot of eyeshadow palettes from Viseart that have a similar color story. Not identical, but similar. This one really reminds me, it has a similar vibes to the Midsummer. It also has similar vibes to like this smaller guy, the Layla's Dew, where you have like a silver, you have some warm tones, you've got some mattes. But this one here is great. It's a very, very small size eyeshadow palette. This guy here is the same size as the ones that come in these little tiny guys here. So you can interchange these. And like every other one from Viseart, you know, you can pull, oops, you can pull these pans out and rearrange them, or you can intermix them with other palettes that have similar size shadow pans. I get a lot of use out of this one, especially when I'm wanting kind of like a cooler rose tone look. This one's really pretty. I love these. This one especially, this one is the Midsummer palette. It has a really beautiful duochrome here that you can see I have developed hard pan in. I have stuck my finger in there so many times. But this is a beautiful kind of cooler toned eyeshadow palette. I love this, and it's kind of rose toned, but not too much. And this one here is the Solstice palette. Again, another really pretty duochrome. This one kind of goes pinky blue, but these are more warm tones. I tend to like stick to some of these lighter shades, put a little bit of this dark, and then top it with this duochrome. Love. This is a very well-loved palette, and I really enjoy using it. Let's talk about the Petits. Oh, I love these guys so much. I wasn't sure about Viseart as a brand until I fell in love with these two palettes right here. This right here is the Praline. This is from the 2020 holiday collection. Love this. If you like warm colors, this is kind of more warmish neutral, but this one is stunning, especially on fair skin. Love, love, love. Also love the Lilas. Okay, this is the one that made me fall in love with cool toned eyeshadows. I really wasn't a cool toned eyeshadow fan. I really didn't like grays. I didn't like silvers. I was like, I don't look good in those. And the truth is, I do. I think I just wasn't using the right formulas. Wasn't using the right techniques. I love this eyeshadow palette oh so much. And this was the reason that I went back to buy the rest of them. So about, I don't know, 4 or 5 months later, I picked up these guys. This one is the Chocolat, and this one here is the Framboise. So more of a pink and more of a darker brown, kind of a warm brown here. These are fantastic. That was the first set of quads they came out with. Amazing. The next holiday, they did 4 more. This one here is probably the one that is most used. This is the Peridot palette from this next set of 4. These were based on like the Roaring 20s and the Jazz age, and this one in Peridot is fabulous. Oh wait, I don't know, maybe Bouillon is the one that I use the most, but I didn't think I was going to because I'm like, I don't wear black eyeshadow, but this black eyeshadow is interesting. It's black, but it's buildable. Now, I know some people want a black eyeshadow to be like, boom, right there. I need something that's buildable. With my fair skin, if I put this on my eye, I feel like I got punched in the eye. But the golds in here, layered up at the top of the black, stunning. You can use this as a light wash. You can use it as an eyeliner. You can, it's amazing. Maybe this is the one that I use the most. And second would be the green one in Peridot. This is the Garnet palette. This is the one that I wanted to love the most because I love this shade and this shade. I just find that this is one I use as a single. And this matte cream color is almost identical to my skin tone. It's really easy to use, but I don't use it as much as I should. So my goal is to use this one more this year. This is the one that I use the least out of these Petits from 2021. But this shade here, it looks kind of like a really pale, soft blue. It's actually a silver. And this kind of really pretty warm brown here, stunning, stunning. I need to spend more time playing with this palette with the blues because I want to like blues more. I just, like blue and purple, I kind of don't know what to do with. But this is one that I'm going to hang on to as an aspirational eyeshadow palette. In spring of 2023, Viseart came out with this Macaron set. Here's another blue, but these are totally different. These feel more like they are like candy colored, like Easter egg shades. And this blue here, it's really pretty, but since it's a matte, it can come off a little powdery sometimes. I feel like the rest of these warm tones are ones that I have in other places, not just in Viseart, but as well as like my eyeshadow singles and other palettes. I think this color combo is nice, but it's the one that I've used the least. Out of all of these quads, this is the one that I've used the least. And if anything were to go, probably be this one. But yeah, I'm not going to do that. I love this one. I have found out that I love green eyeshadow, and this is the quad in Pistache. Really like this one, especially when I want a really light, kind of minty leaning eye. This one's stunning. This one surprised me. This is the quad in Lavande. And I remember how I told you before that I'm very intimidated by blue and purple eyeshadow. This one is different because it has these two really soft, ethereal, like pastel-y lavender shades. This is one I'll use as eyeliner. Sometimes I'll use it in the outer corner, but I love putting a wash of this all over my lid and then topping it with this really soft ethereal silver. So pretty, especially for springtime. And I'm about to start doing that nonstop because I'm really craving brighter, bolder colors, but not like punch me in the face colors, but like these slightly washed out shades are beautiful. So I'll probably be reaching for Pistache and Lavande a lot. This is the Petit Four in Peche. I'm not a huge fan of these peachy colors. I used to love peach eyeshadows. Like, come on, all of us love the sweet peach from Too Faced, but I feel like those times have come and gone. I'm not saying that you can't get a beautiful look with peach eyeshadow. I just don't use this one as much as I should. What I have been known to do is pull a shade or two out of here, mix it with something else so I get use out of these. But I think the reason it's as like dusty and dirty as it is because I'm forever like, you know, pulling one out and using it with something else and then putting it back in, and I'm getting, you know, powder all over the inside of the container just from moving things around. For holiday 2022, I was expecting 4 of these Petit Fours. They only did 3. And you know what? I'm totally fine with that. My favorite and most used one is the Lilas Dew. This is part 2 to the Lilas palette. I feel like these 2 shades here are very similar to the original Lilas. And then we have kind of a warmer tone and a slightly deeper one. Here's the original Lilas palette, and you can see how those top 2 shades kind of are similar. And this one here I feel is better suited for people with really light skin tones because the mattes are so fair. The metallics look good, I feel like, on a wide range of skin tones, but this one here gives you a little bit more depth and a little bit more option. So I think they revamped this with, you know, kind of half the palette. They're not identical, but they're very much inspired by, and then a little bit of warmth and a little bit more depth. Love this one. I wear this one a lot. So this is the Amelie. I feel like this one's very much a split between the Praline and the Chocolat. I feel like if you have either of those, you probably don't need this one, but I actually like wearing this like to work or on a day when I need a simple look. I'll choose like just these 2. Or I'll do just these 2. I really like, you know, a smaller palette really helps me curate my look and I don't end up with like 50 million eyeshadows on my face. Love, love, love this one here in Amelie. This last one here in Violetta is the one that I feel is kind of more my aspirational eyeshadow. And a lot of it is because the shade is high maintenance. I love the color story, and when I finally get it on my eyes and it's beautiful, it is so much fun to wear. But I'll tell you, this is definitely one of those where if you don't have an eyeshadow primer or a glitter glue, expect to have like all sorts of glitter fallout, sparkle underneath your eyeball. This one here on fair skin can be a little bit dark. I have to be really intentional when I apply this quad, but when I get it just right, like the one from Lisa Eldridge, the Sorcery palette, this is another party in a palette. I really, really, really like this. And some days I stick to just these 2, you know, a little bit of this in the crease, a little bit of this in the outer corner and out the door. So I do really like this quad, but it's more of my, I need to be really intentional when applying it and do my eyes first and make sure I have no sparkle fallout. It's a little bit more of a high maintenance eyeshadow palette, mainly because of this shade right here. I would say, but it's a really pretty, almost lavender blue and then silver. It's stunning. So here's what I'm keeping. I meant to do better, but my weakness when it comes to eyeshadow palettes, well, first of all, it's eyeshadow. I'm just gonna be honest. But on top of that, smaller eyeshadow palettes. I love a small palette so much. I obviously have like favorite brands. I love Viseart. I love Wayne Goss. I love Lisa Eldridge. I love these guys from Flower Beauty and the ones right here from M. So a lot of these I knew really weren't gonna be going anywhere. But I feel like these 48 are the ones that really have potential to be used. And the fact that these guys and these guys here, I can like take out and rearrange and create my own palette if I use like a magnetic eyeshadow palette, that's really great. Let me show you what I'm getting rid of. Oh, it's so meager. I'm only getting rid of 10. Oh, but honestly, out of my small eyeshadow palettes, these are the ones I have not been using, and these guys definitely have to go. Thank you so much for watching today. I would love to know if you are an eyeshadow palette devotee. what types of eyeshadows are you looking for? Do you like more indie things? Do you like more affordable things that you can get at the drugstore? Are you more a fan of a brand? Is there something that really calls to you that you forever are like, purchase, purchase, purchase? Or do you have a color story that you lean very heavily on? I feel like I lean heavily on a smaller eyeshadow palette overall. Like the minute you give me an edited 6 or smaller palette, I'm like, ah, over the moon. And I wish I was getting rid of more, but the truth is I don't want to get rid of something later that I will regret. So glad to get rid of these 10. These guys I'm not going to miss at all. And the 48 that I'm keeping are really ones that I can see myself using as the year progresses. Thank you so, so much for watching today. Have an incredible day, and I will see you again soon. Bye.